Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy back at it again with being cute, adorable, and winning your heart over. Blah blah blah. Man, forget about this loser. There's a new cool guy in town. Ladies, please, I'm trying to film a video here, one at a time. Anyway, I'm back with a new look, new knowledge, and I think I look more handsome now, right? Right? So there are probably a few questions popping up in your brains right now. The most important one is probably, why? Your old avatar was cute! What was wrong with him? And no, that is not the most obvious question. The most obvious question is why I disappeared for almost 2 months. We'll get there. But first, let me explain the Fox situation. Reason number 1. I feel like my voice didn't really match the old model anymore. You know, my sexy voice. The old Fox avatar that I used had this younger, cuter look, and over time, it started feeling a little disconnected from how I actually present myself in videos. I wanted to change him for a long time, but I never had enough time to properly sit down and do it. Reason number 2. I wanted the design to lean more towards cool instead of cute. I still want him to be expressive, cartoony, and a little stupid when needed. Because obviously that is important. Since this avatar represents me, I wanted him to feel a bit more like a handsome fox with sharp eyes. The kind of fox where you look at him and go, aura. Reason number 3 is final reason, which is honestly the biggest one. I wanted to learn a new facial rigging technique. Some of you might have seen my community post where I said I was taking a short break because I moved to a new apartment. At first, I thought the break would be maybe 2 weeks. 2 weeks, yeah. Then I thought, wait a minute, who are you? Wait. Since I'm already not uploading for a bit, maybe this is the perfect time to upgrade my avatar too. And then that simple idea slowly turned into, what if I completely redesign the character, redo the facial rig, study a whole advanced rigging course, and fix design problems? So yeah, I was overcomplicating things again. This was supposed to be a small break, but it became my character's time skip arc. And honestly, I didn't expect it to drag on for almost 2 months. But I also didn't want to come back with a rushed model that I didn't feel comfortable using.
That's enough!
If this character is going to be on screen in almost every video, I want him to feel right. Okay, let's talk a little bit about design direction. When I started redesigning him, I searched for references everywhere. I'll be honest, I suck at character design, especially coming up with something new or unique. I'm not the type of person who can create an appealing design right away, but at least I do know what kind of vibe I want. So the search for the right design took me a while. I wanted him to look more adult and have a tiny bit of that kitsune vibe from the old Japanese folklore. I love how they portrayed the piercing fox eye. But I still need to stylize it enough so I could make goofy, cartoony expressions. Because if the character only looks cool, that would be boring to me. During this design phase, I was watching the last season of Beastars and also Bad Guys 2. Beastars has that more animal-like, serious aura. Bad Guys, on the other hand, has that western cartoony appeal that I like. Wait, didn't they also get inspired from the Japanese Lupin the Third? Anyway, I wanted to land somewhere in the middle. When it comes to anthropomorphic animal character designs, you cannot escape the term furry. If you noticed, the Asian and Western furry designs take different approach when it comes to anthro characters. Western furry designs are commonly cartoony, cute, looks friendly and approachable. Most of the time they do look like mascots, to be honest. Asian furries are more animal-like, slim and sharp looking. I wanted a golden middle ground, still readable as a fox, but still stylized enough for animation. And hey, I already know what you're thinking. To that I say, no! I just like foxes, okay? They're cool. Anyway, what you're looking at is my attempt to combine those influences into something that feels more like me now. I could talk about the outfit, the retopology, and the absolute nightmare of sculpting folds, but I don't want this video to become 3 hours of me crying about topology. So let's get to another reason why this model took so long to make. The facial rig. The biggest thing I learned and implemented here is something called a ribbon rig. Basically, instead of directly controlling every deformation bone by hand, you use a mesh surface to drive those bones. The mesh becomes a kind of invisible guide that controls the deformation. When I first saw that, my reaction was, "What? You can do that?" The lips and eyes on this model use that technique. And while building it, I also learned a lot more about shape keys. My old rig was more direct. I kept the face relatively low poly and placed deformation bones on loops where I needed control. If there were too many loops, I relied on B-bone to avoid painting a million tiny weights. That worked! It wasn't terrible, but it also had limitations, and I could feel that I was reusing an older workflow because it was familiar. The ribbon rig method opened my eyes to a different way of thinking about facial rigs. It takes much longer to set up and it requires a lot of patience. But once it works, posing the face feels much more flexible and I enjoy every moment of making the face. Shape keys were another thing I avoided for a long time. I used to think of them as very limiting and not very expressive method. But making this avatar made me realize they can mix very naturally with traditional bone controlled rigs. Now I'm probably going to use this combination more in future models. Bones for control, ribbons for smoother deformation, and shape keys for specific corrections or expression details. Now, if you're curious about how I rigged all of this, let me be honest. I know some of you want very detailed step-by-step facial rigging tutorial from me. But I don't think I'm the best person suited for teaching stuff. Although, I can point you to the exact course that helped me. Rick Schutz.
My name is Rick Schutte.
Rick Schutz.
Rick Schutte.
I'm sorry, Rick. I don't think I can pronounce it correctly.
Rick Schutte.
Advanced facial rigging course on the Blender Studio website. This video is not sponsored, by the way. It helped me to learn a lot of new stuff, and I think it's worth recommending if you're interested. Most of what I built here comes from studying that course and then applying the ideas to my own avatar. He explains the process step by step, and if you want strong control over a facial rig, that course is a much better foundation than me pretending I invented this technique yesterday. I would rather be honest than make a tutorial that sounds confident but skips the painful parts. So was all of this worth disappearing for almost 2 months? I think so. From a YouTube perspective, disappearing is obviously not ideal. But from a creative perspective, I feel more comfortable with this avatar now. There are still so many things I want to learn, and I wish I were a bird. I wish I had more time, but I'll try my best to keep up without completely destroying myself in the process. So what do you think of the new look? Let me know in the comments. Do you prefer the cool fox? Or do you miss the old cutie patootie fox? Either way, I'll be using this one for a while, so please bear with me. And if you don't like him yet, trust me, he'll grow on you. Before I go, I want to thank my patrons who supported me during this month of absence. Seriously, I'm really grateful to all of you. I'm also thinking about improving the rewards for each tier. Money doesn't come easily nowadays, so even if you support me with $1, that genuinely means a lot. I want you to feel like your support is worth it. I do want to give more. I'm just struggling to find enough time for YouTube, Patreon, models, and my own life, and everything else at once. So, please understand, and thank you for sticking around. With that being said, thank you to all my Patreons, and thank you for watching. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day!